We've talked about automation, Matthew, and one of the key parts of the agent's job is obviously talking to the customer, but there are so many other things which call notes, dispositioning,
Yep.
updating the tickets, finding ops manager to answer it. Do you see smart automation playing a role there? Because there's a lot of automation in customer service at the top, in deflection and so on, but and a lot of AHT goes in these sort of peripheral tasks. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, one of the biggest chunks of handle time is the documentation of a case, and so it's arguably your most expensive part of your experience, but it's also most valuable because that's the data. That right there is the start of the data trail.
Yeah.
That right there also, by the way, is why most of the data is not trusted or respected. What is it? On average, customers have 2.7 questions for each contact. Most tools allow you to put a single record. Okay, so right away, which one is more important out of the three? You're asking the CSR to make that decision for the entire company.
Right.
The other problem is, and this cracks me, every company I've ever worked for, this happens every single time. Somebody who does data analytics, someone who found this huge gap financially, some VP in some sales field or some marketing thing saw a report and saw like, wow, look at this. We are having way too many case types for this exact reason. Let's do this major project and get to the root cause of what it is and really solve it, invest huge money, huge effort, and then push it for 2 years. And it turns out it didn't move the needle at all. When they actually finally go down and ask an agent, why do we keep getting this call?
Yeah.
Say you keep getting that call. Say you keep getting that record type. Why do you keep getting that record type? Because it's the first selection.
Yeah. There's a famous Jeff Bezos story, like where he sat next to a CSR rep, and he was like, the CSR rep was like, what was this case about? Oh, this is a return from this table. Then four calls later, what was this case about? This is a return from this table. And it's like, what's going on? It's like, is that return process a problem? It's like, no. This particular manufacturer has this defect in this table, and because I just mark return from the table as the case type, the return from the table is going up through the roof. No one talks about this is a manufacturer's problem.
Exactly.
And as soon as we take the table out of circulation, the return from the table obviously goes down. But there's no data to pull that.
And there's no training, like there's very little training on how to dictate a call, right? And there's so much risk, but there's so much reward. And this is where AI to me is huge, because dictating the call, tagging the call, or the chat, or the email, and then sending it to product, marketing, legal, people and culture, or HR, operations leads, anybody who is looking to test something. And also the other part of it too is you're gaining a lot of time back in the company. So right now, to do that, someone on my team needs to go through a bunch of cases, pull a case type report, scroll, like literally read these cases, get rid of the ones that are inaccurately applied, come to an anecdotal solution, and set up a meeting, attend the meeting, and then everyone in the meeting, which that in itself is probably a couple $1,000s of salary, right? This is what we found. I'm like, okay, but you present that to me in the way that you see it, and I'm looking for how I see it, so the value is half, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge return right there by just you open your dashboard, your inbox, like here it is. You got a catalog from marketing of all the calls and all the contacts we got for this new initiative that you just launched yesterday.
Right.
That's hugely critical for internal decision making, right? For the company to get to the problem faster and not waste their time on misdirection. That to me is the key. That's where if you can get there as a support org, you're really doing well.
And that's where, like, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, that's where your customers are telling you what the problems are in your product, in your service effort, in your marketing, where it's unclear. And your CSRs are sort of capturing that, and that's the, as you said, the gold mine in your backyard.
Yeah.
And can you just walk out and find the
just find it?
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, we all end up with a backyard full of holes, and I still haven't found anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, this was fantastic, Matthew. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was my pleasure. I love doing this. I always love talking about these topics, so I appreciate, again, the invite and the opportunity. I enjoyed it a lot.